Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the News Tonight, your one stop for the day's top stories. I'm Tracy Shilshi and here are the headlines. ISRO creates history yet again, launches India's most powerful and heaviest homegrown rocket to date. The GSLV Mark III is carrying a satellite weighing more than 3 tons. The diplomatic crisis deepens in the Gulf region. 3 Gulf nations and Egypt, Libya and Yemen sever ties with Qatar, accusing it of supporting terrorism. India's chances on securing a national security guard seat continues to look slim. China again plays spoilsport, says Delhi's bid has become more complicated under the new circumstances. And on World Environment Day, the centre launches a waste segregation campaign, a crucial move not just for the environment but safety of garbage collectors and rat pickers as well. Well, that was the Nuclear Supplies Group, and we'll get you details of that in a bit. But first, the big story coming from the national story. ISRO added another feather to its cap on Monday, successfully launching India's heaviest communication satellite, the GSAT-19, aboard homegrown GSLV Mark III rocket. The rocket, weighing 640 tons and standing at 43.43 meters, successfully lifted off at 5:28 p.m. in fact today, from the second launch pad at the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota. The rocket carried along into space the GSAT-19 communication satellite weighing 3,136 kilograms to an altitude of around 179 kilometers above the Earth after just over 16 minutes into the flight. This is the heaviest satellite to be launched on an indigenous rocket. It is expected that one day it will also successfully carry astronauts to space. Up until now, ISRO had to depend on foreign launchers for communication satellites weighing more than 2,300 kilograms. The GSLV Mark III D1 is capable of carrying payloads of up to 4,000 kilograms into the geosynchronous transfer orbit and 10,000 kgs into the low Earth orbit. Monday's launch is being hailed as a turning point in the Indian space journey.
The culmination of a large amount of work done over decades, and we are extremely happy that this mission has been successful and it has put GSAT-19 into its orbit, and from the initial parameters we have received, it's a perfect launch, and it has gone into the right perigee, apogee and inclination, and we have already got the information from the satellite that it is being tracked and its health is good.
Well, wishes poured in after ISRO's successful launch. Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Team ISRO on its success on Twitter and said that the nation is proud of its achievements. President Pranab Mukherjee also took to Twitter to congratulate ISRO on the launch. In a congratulatory message, Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari said, and I quote, "The successful launch of the indigenously developed heavy lift space vehicle, including the cryogenic stage, demonstrates India's ability to launch large payloads and opens up the possibility of increased space exploration and its utilization for the benefit of humanity. The flawless launch once again showcases India's capabilities in the field of space sciences and related technologies. I wish ISRO all the very best for the future," quote unquote. And Congress President Sonia Gandhi as well wished ISRO on that launch. Meanwhile, in other news, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj on Monday reiterated that India wants to resolve all issues with Pakistan through dialogue, but also asserted that talks and terror cannot go hand in hand. The minister made it clear that Kashmir issue can be resolved only bilaterally and Pakistan cannot take it to the International Court of Justice. India will also not accept mediation from any other country or organization. She also denied any flip-flop in India's policy on Pakistan. Sushma Swaraj was addressing a press conference on completion of 3 years of the government.
कश्मीर को वो किसी भी तरह से आईसीजे में नहीं ले जा सकता, क्योंकि कश्मीर के ऊपर शिमला एग्रीमेंट और लाहौर डिक्लेरेशन बहुत ही क्लियर है कि बायलैटरल मुद्दा है और दोनों देश आपस में बैठकर ही निपटाएंगे। जहां तक ये सवाल है कि फिर हम वहां क्यों गए, हम कश्मीर को नहीं ले गए आईसीजे में। हमारे बहुत से मुद्दे कोर्ट में भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच चल रहे हैं।
Staying with Kashmir, in the latest from the state, Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh hailed the CRPF and state police for their alertness and courage in foiling an early morning suicide attack on a CRPF camp in Bandipora district. A major haul of arms and ammunition, including grenades, explosives and automatic weapons, were made from the killed terrorists. Here are more details.
4 terrorists were killed by security forces on Monday as they tried to carry out a suicide attack on a CRPF camp at Sambal in Bandipora district. Officials confirmed the heavily armed militants tried to enter the camp of the 45th CRPF battalion around 3:45 a.m. and the terrorists were killed in retaliatory firing. 4 AK-47 rifles and grenades were recovered from the encounter site. The attackers were also reportedly carrying petrol to set the camp on fire. Soon after the incident, security forces cordoned off the area.
There were 4 Fedayins involved in this encounter. They attacked the camp, the sentry post and the outer periphery by hurling grenades and by reverting to automatic fire. Our sentries replied immediately and our QRTs and replacements, reinforcements came in, including our company commanders who were on the side. And we were able to engage the Fedayins successfully, and we were able to kill 4 Fedayins in an encounter that lasted for about 45 minutes.
4 AK-47 जो इनके पास थी, बाकी इसके अलावा मैगजीन्स हैं। एक बड़ी ख़ास बात यह है कि पेट्रोल काफ़ी मात्रा में इनके पास से बरामद हुआ है, तो इससे ऐसा लग रहा था कि ये शायद कहीं पे कैंप में घुस के आग लगाने की इनकी कोशिश थी।
Home Minister Rajnath Singh lauded the CRPF and Jammu and Kashmir police personnel for their alertness and courage. Kashmir has remained tense after the killing of a Hizbul terrorist over a week back, which were followed by shutdowns by separatists. Several separatist leaders, including Mirwais Omar Farooq, were also put under house arrest to stop them from holding a meeting at Hardline Hurriyat Conference Chairman Syed Ali Gilani's residence. The meeting was convened to discuss the NIA raids on a separatist leader for allegedly accepting money from Pakistan to cause unrest in Kashmir. INB Minister Venkaiah Naidu has ruled out the possibility of holding talks with the Kashmiri separatists. Naidu also called the separatists destructive and further added to the Hawala money allegations.
Staying in the country, eating the country's food, serving the cause of others. What is witch hunting? You are an Indian. You have to be loyal to India. How can you call yourself a separatist? That is the question. And moreover, they have been receiving money from across the border. That is the information they got. That's why raids are conducted. If you have no problem, then why should you worry?
Meanwhile, in a telephonic conversation, the Director Generals of Military Operations of both India and Pakistan discussed the increasing incidents of ceasefire violations by Pakistan in the last couple of months. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you some special stories on the occasion of World Environment Day. The Urban Development Ministry today launched its Solid Waste Management Initiative in the National Capital Region. Union Minister Venkaiah Naidu kickstarted the waste segregation campaign in 9 of NCR's urban local bodies, including 5 in Delhi. Under the initiative, the government will install 2 dustbins, wet waste in green bins and dry waste in blue bins. This will be mandatory for all households, hotels, restaurants and public places. The initiative aims to address major environmental issues like inappropriate disposal and burning of solid waste. The program will be launched in 130 cities where waste-to-compost plants are either functional or under construction.
ये व्यवस्था केवल सरकार के द्वारा, कारपोरेशन के द्वारा नहीं, आप लोग भी खुद करना चाहिए। अपना घर के सामने 2 बकेट रखना ये कोई बड़ा विषय है क्या? इसके लिए सरकार पैसा देना है क्या? दुर्भाग्य है इस देश में आजादी के इतना साल के बाद भी हमारे लोगों में एक प्रवृत्ति बन गया। उसके लिए हम ही लोग जिम्मेदार है, राजनेता। प्रवृत्ति क्या है? सब काम सरकार करेगा, हम बेकार बैठे तो चलेगा। ये मोदी जी ने कहा ये नहीं चलेगा। जनता का भागीदारी होना चाहिए. People's involvement has to be there. Everybody should become part of it, and everybody should do their duty. Then only it will be successful.
Meanwhile, the Indian Railways has got cracking on environment management with a focus on pollution control and efficiency in energy consumption. Indian Railways is the largest consumer of energy, and use of green energy is expected to reduce carbon footprint. Here's more.
Going green, the Indian Railways will strive to reduce carbon emission by 33% in the next 10 to 12 years through sustained energy efficiency measures and maximum use of clean fuel. Promoting low-carbon mass transportation system, the railways will be using 5% biodiesel and CNG or LNG for traction, while stepping up use of renewables up to 10% for its energy needs by 2030. Diesel guzzling engines of the Indian Railways will soon give way to the fast-moving trains running on electricity.
जो साफ सुथरी ऊर्जा बने, रिन्यूएबल ऊर्जा बने, पर्यावरण की रक्षा करने वाली ऊर्जा बने, उसको ध्यान में रखते हुए 1000 मेगावाट सोलर, 300 मेगावाट विंड और वेस्ट टू एनर्जी, और साथ ही में बिजली पूरी मात्रा में रेल का इलेक्ट्रिफिकेशन, इससे भी अगले 10 साल में 41,000 करोड़ रुपए का बचेगा और पर्यावरण की रक्षा होगी ही होगी.
Railways has also decided to recycle water and promote rainwater harvesting systems and revival of water bodies across the country.
इसमें पानी सबसे बड़ी बात है, जिससे वाटर बॉडीज़ को रिस्टोर किया जा रहा है, वाटर रिसाइकलिंग, वाटर ऑडिट्स, उससे कम से कम 300 करोड़ रुपए रेल का साल का बचेगा.
Railway lines spin a web through the length and breadth of the country, spanning over 63,940 kilometers. The emission burden from the transport sector as a whole has risen 3.5 times since 1990 to stand at 250 million tons of carbon dioxide in 2013. The railways contributed 9.7% or emitted 24.7 million tons of CO2. The Indian Railways needs to meet standards adopted by other railways across the world to install necessary pollution control and waste disposal mechanisms. Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
A quick break here. We'll be back with the international stories in a bit. Stay with us.
Jade was popular during Mughal era and gained prominence during Akbar's rule in 15th and 16th century. It came all the way from Iran and Central Asia in attractive colors. The royalty had a unique use for it. Since jade changed color when it came in contact with arsenic, they started utensils like plates, jars, bowls and even hookah with it, and thereby avoided getting poisoned by rivals.
The story we thought we knew. The story of magnificence. The story of bloody battles. Of those who ruled and those who left their footprints. The story charting the course of our past. Talking history on Rajya Sabha TV.
Harappan sites are a treasure trove of sophisticated pottery. These creations show tremendous advances by the potter's wheel. Creations like the perforated jar, the copper axe, the chisel and knives astound even present-day archaeologists. Figurines depicting yoga poses, chess pieces display a complexity unsurpassed even by later-day civilizations, all of which make the Harappan civilization truly unique.
Art arisen from a multi-hued cultural canvas. tradition and cultural fervour dating back centuries. And encircling them all, there's a magic that awes. Embrace your nation's brilliant human warmth. Watch Colours of India, Sundays at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. Let's continue getting you more news. And China plans to continue blocking India's attempts to join the elite nuclear suppliers group, claiming that Delhi's bid has become more complicated under new circumstances, quote unquote. However, China did not elaborate what these circumstances were. The nuclear suppliers group has 48 member countries who control trade in sophisticated civil nuclear technology. China is among the countries that objects to India's admission to the bloc. For any new country to become a member, there should be a consensus among the other nations. China's Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs said, and I quote, about the nuclear suppliers group, it is a new issue under the new circumstances, and it is more complicated than the previously imagined. Pakistan has also applied for entry into the NSG. Even though China does not openly back Islamabad's entry either, it does group India and Pakistan in the same bracket. NSG rules require that members be signatories of the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Both India and Pakistan are yet to sign that. But it is also notable that India's record of nuclear non-proliferation is in sharp contrast to Pakistan's, something reiterated time and again by countries including the US.
हमें 2008 में अलग से ये अधिकार मिल गया। जो हमारी प्रतिबद्धताएं या कमिटमेंट्स हमने उस समय की थी, उसको 100% नहीं 101% हमने पूरा किया है। इसीलिए हम इंडिया और पाकिस्तान के उस पर भी उनको बता रहे हैं कि दोनों चीज़ें अलग अलग हैं। रही बातचीत की, तो हमने चाइना को हमेशा एंगेज किया है, हम अब भी एनएसजी के नाते एंगेज कर रहे हैं। बातचीत करके उनको समझाने का सिलसिला केवल भारत ही नहीं करे, भारत के मित्र देश भी करें, इस ओर हम लोग लगे हुए हैं।
And here's a look at more updates from across the country in Nationwide. At least 24 passengers were charred to death and 13 others injured after a truck collided with a bus on the national highway in Bareilly district of Uttar Pradesh. The bus belongs to the Uttar Pradesh State Transport Corporation and was heading from New Delhi to Gonda Depot. Now, according to witnesses, the bus caught fire moments after colliding with the truck, giving no time for passengers to get out. The driver of the truck is absconding. A Delhi court on Monday allowed industrialist Naveen Jindal to travel abroad for business. He is an accused in a coal blocker scam case. Besides Jindal, the case also involves former Jharkhand Chief Minister Madhu Koda. The court has directed all the accused not to tamper with evidence and also not to influence witnesses. The Central Bureau of Investigation has appealed to a Delhi court to extend the remand of gangster-turned-politician Mohammad Shahabuddin in an ongoing investigation relating to the murder of Bihar journalist Rajya Ranjan. The CBI had taken custody of the former RJD MP on the 29th of May for questioning. 5 persons have been arrested in the case so far. The agitation by farmers in Maharashtra continued for the 5th day on Monday. The traders have also shut down their shops in protest of farmers at several places, including Nasik, Ahmednagar and Aurangabad. The farmers are demanding loan waivers from the government and other concessions like lower power tariffs. Fourteen judges took oath on Monday as additional judges of the Bombay High Court. This takes the strength to 75 now. The newly appointed judges were sworn in by the Chief Justice Manjula Chellur in the presence of all other judges of the High Court. The sanctioned strength of judges in the Bombay High Court is 90. China on Monday mounted a defense of its all-weather ally Pakistan, saying one country alone cannot tackle terrorism. This reaction came after Afghanistan accused Pakistan of helping to carry out last week's deadly bomb blast in Kabul. China's defense comes days before a regional treaty on combating terrorism and extremism is to be discussed at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Astana on the 8th of June. India and Pakistan are to formally join the Eurasian Security Grouping during the summit. China said that it was not possible for any one country to tackle the present threats posed by terrorism. It also urged the international community to step up cooperation and work together to jointly tackle the threat.
20就国际和地区重大问题充分交换意见。习主席将与各国元首围绕上述议题，深入探讨新形势下携手应对风险挑战，促进共同安全稳定。
In a deepening of the rift in the Gulf, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Egypt and Bahrain have cut diplomatic relations with Qatar, accusing the Gulf state of supporting terrorism. Libya and Yemen also joined the countries in severing ties with Qatar. The move has seen oil prices soaring upwards and several international flights suspending Qatar-bound flights. But Qatar has told its citizens that there's no need to worry or stock up.
صرح مصدر مسؤول أن حكومة المملكة العربية السعودية انطلاقا من ممارسة حقوقها السيادية التي كفلها القانون الدولي وحماية لأمنها الوطني من مخاطر الإرهاب والتطرف، فإنها قررت قطع العلاقات الدبلوماسية والقنصلية مع دولة قطر، كما قررت إغلاق كافة المنافذ البرية والبحرية والجوية ومنع العبور في الأراضي والأجواء والمياه الإقليمية السعودية.
Some of the most powerful states in the Arab world have decided to part ways with one of their allies, signaling the worst rift in years in the Arab world. Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the UAE and Bahrain have cut diplomatic ties with Qatar, isolating the tiny energy-rich country by cutting off its land, sea and air routes to the outside world. The countries accuse Qatar of supporting terrorism, its ties with Hamas and recent alleged statements by its emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani in support of Iran seem to have plunged the Gulf into its latest crisis. It all started with a phone call from Qatar's ruling emir to Iranian President Hassan Rouhani, congratulating him on his re-election. The call was seen as a clear public rebuttal of Saudi Arabia's efforts to force Qatar to fall in line against the Shiite-ruled nation. The economic impact was felt immediately as oil rose 1% before paring gains on Monday and Qatar's main stock index fell more than 7%. The UAE stock market too suffered a pullback in share prices after the Qatari stock market opened with an 800-point drop.
زي ما يعني ذكرت في بداية الكلام انه اسواقنا بتتأثر ببعضها، يعني النهارده في جلسة تداول اليوم كان في بعض الضغوط البيعية لكن كانت مش بنفس الحدة اللي بنشوفها دلوقتي مع بداية التعاملات. مع افتتاح السوق القطري كان هناك تراجع حاد، شفنا انه تراجع بحوالي 800 نقطة مع بداية الجلسة. تأثرنا هنا بشكل أكبر مما كنا عليه في البداية.
Following the announcement, airline carriers from Dubai and Abu Dhabi have announced their plans to suspend all flights to and from Doha starting Tuesday. Dubai-based carrier Emirates said it will suspend all flights to and from Doha until further notice, joining UAE-based Etihad Airways in a similar move. In an email notification, the Emirates said, and I quote, "All customers booked on Emirates flights to and from Doha will be provided with alternative options, including full refunds on unused tickets and free rebooking to the nearest alternate Emirates destinations." The fallout comes just 10 days after President Donald Trump visited Riyadh to call on Muslim countries to stand united against any form of terrorism. However, the US was quick to respond, saying the move will not help fight terrorism, urging the countries to address their differences instead.
We certainly would encourage the parties to sit down together and address these differences. And if there's any role that we can play in terms of helping them address those, we think it is important that the GCC remain unified. I do not expect that this will have any significant impact, if any impact at all, on the unified fight against terrorism in the region or globally.
The coordinated move dramatically escalates a dispute over Qatar's support for the Muslim Brotherhood, the world's oldest Islamist movement, and adds accusations that Doha even backs the agenda of regional arch-rival Iran. Qatar has criticized the move as a violation of its sovereignty and denies allegations made by the other countries. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And here's a quick look at more international news updates in Global Buzz. 7 illegal migrants were found dead inside a refrigerated truck in Libya. According to authorities, the cause of the death may be suffocation. The migrants claim that smugglers packed them into the truck on Friday to transport them to a boat which would cross the Mediterranean. The migrants further added that the truck driver left the vehicle on the side of the road after unknown gunmen began firing at the tires. Defying the Trump administration, California on Monday promised to work with China in regards to the Paris Climate Accord. Addressing the International Summit of New Environmental Protection Technology in China, Californian Governor Jerry Brown met the provincial party secretary Li Qiang and discussed about merging carbon trading markets. Both the leaders also signed a clean technology agreement. Brown will also host a clean energy forum in Beijing next week. British police on Monday arrested 12 persons in connection with the terror attacks at London Bridge that killed 7 people and injured dozens on Sunday. A white van hit pedestrians on London Bridge. Then 3 men got out and stabbed people in the nearby Borough Market. However, following the attack, the country's major political parties temporarily suspended campaigning days before the general election, which is scheduled to take place on the 8th of June. Australian police on Monday killed a hostage taker and rescued a woman at a Bay Street apartment in Melbourne City following reports of an explosion. 3 police officers were also injured as they stormed the building to end the hostage situation. The body of another man was also found on the spot. The motive behind the incident is not yet known. That's it on the news tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.